A rapper filmed and photographed in the public eye for decades, now for the past few weeks, only seen through the eyes of a courtroom artist. It took 28 days of testimony and 3 days of deliberation for a jury to decide the fate of Sean Diddy Combs, a man who 2 years ago was given a golden key to the city, where he's now been locked up for prostitution-related offences. But he was cleared of the most serious charges.
Like a free black man American.
Amen, Jesus.
That decision was seen as a victory by Combs' supporters outside the courtroom.
Bread and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
As well as his family, their smiles evident. But the reaction was also heated.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Do we want to hear from the audience?
One of the key witnesses in this case was Combs' former girlfriend, the singer Cassie Ventura, who accused him of more than a decade of abuse. This shocking video from 2016 showed him beating her as she fled a hotel. She testified that she was escaping from one of his sex parties. The prosecution's case centered on those parties, what Combs called freak-offs, and Miss Ventura said she was plied with drink and drugs as seen in government evidence. She also said he would then force her to have sex with male escorts in events that often lasted days. She alleged he would often masturbate or film the events, later using the videos to threaten and control her. Raids on Combs' homes in Florida and California last year found evidence of these freak-offs, with federal agents finding drugs, weapons, and copious amounts of baby oil. Miss Ventura brought a separate civil case against Combs for the abuse 2 years ago, but her story was not unique. Another ex-girlfriend read about Miss Ventura's story at the time and sent a text to Combs saying, "I feel like I'm reading my own sexual trauma." She became the other key witness in this federal case, known to the court as Jane, having asked for anonymity, and her and Ventura's testimony were key to the prosecution. But the case was not strong enough to convict Combs on all counts.
Count 1, not guilty. Sex trafficking, not guilty. Transportation.
So the verdict from the jury has just filtered through to the street outside the courtroom, and you can feel the buzz, because this is what the jury decided. On 2 of the charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, guilty on those 2 charges for Sean Diddy Combs. But on the 3 other charges, 2 of sex trafficking and 1 of racketeering conspiracy, the one which the jury really struggled with yesterday, not guilty on those 3 charges.
We're pleased that he's finally been held responsible for 2 federal crimes, something that he's never faced in his life. He still faces substantial jail time. Of course, we would have liked to have seen a conviction on the sex crimes in RICO, but we understand beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard.
That Combs was found not guilty on 3 of the more serious charges, one of which would have carried a life sentence, meant that when he heard the jury's decision, Combs sank to his knees. The defense had painted a picture of a loving family man, and Combs' mother and children were in the court throughout the trial. He had always pleaded his innocence, and the defense rested on the issue of consent. They said that multiple texts from the 2 women, Cassie and Jane, showed that they enjoyed the freak-offs, and that while Combs' sex life may appear unseemly, it wasn't criminal.
In the future, can't wait to see if you open up the gates.
Combs' private life is now as much in the public eye as his music, the man who became famous in the mid-1990s under the name Puff Daddy. A music titan who would become a businessman and role model. His star power brought even a young senator from Illinois into his orbit.
Listen, you're a motivating force for young people all across the country. Your music moves people.
He surrounded himself with A-listers, but when it came to this trial, the only major celebrity attending court in solidarity with Combs was the controversial rapper Ye, formerly Kanye West.
It's Sean P. Diddy Combs, forever.
And that star power is why he also had so many supporters outside court today.
Because I am an avid supporter. I loved him since the 90s, like we all did. His music and everything he stands for.
And the fact that he was still found guilty on 2 charges, does that change your opinion of him?
Of course not. Will never change my view on him in any type of way.
You were found guilty, 2 charges. That's not a success. That's maybe a C+, maybe.
A case that attracted the world's attention with a dramatic ending. The judge will decide Combs' sentence at a later date. He's been spared life in prison, some solace for him. But he will still face justice for 2 charges, and that is some solace for his victims.
Well, Sean Diddy Combs was one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop and the media industry, who still faces dozens of civil lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault, all of which he denies. So how did he become so influential? Our culture correspondent Minnie Stevenson reports, and just to warn you, the report does contain flash photography from the start.
A mogul, a myth, a mirror of the times. Tonight at the centre of a stunning fall from grace. From Harlem to stardom, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, just Diddy, the rapper in his many incarnations. One thing's for certain, Sean Combs had cultural capital and he flaunted it to control and abuse.
Seems like yesterday we used to rock the show.
But just how power is used and protected in the music industry is now laid bare.
I've gone from Harlem to Hollywood.
Diddy's status cemented in Hollywood's Walk of Fame, embedded in every corner of the entertainment industry. Music exec, fashion entrepreneur, business icon, now convicted criminal.
Yeah. We sending this one out to all the ladies.
For decades, Diddy seemed untouchable, a symbol of hip-hop's rise from the margins to the mainstream. Sean Combs got his break as an intern at Uptown Records, but it didn't take long for him to shape the future of music.
If you don't have a strong mind and you're not mature, then you're going to come and go in this game real quick.
In 1993, he founded Bad Boy Records. His first breakout artist, the notorious B.I.G.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
A collaboration that changed the sound of East Coast hip-hop. Diddy wasn't just a producer, he was a curator of cool.
We call it urban high fashion.
He knew how to brand success, glamour and aspiration, especially for young black America.
Anybody could wear any race, religion, creed.
From Sean John clothing to a lucrative vodka deal, Diddy expanded far beyond music, creating an empire built on image and influence.
Y'all have heard about the world famous party.
But fame came with controversy. In 1999, while dating Jennifer Lopez, Combs was charged and ultimately acquitted in a nightclub shooting in New York. That trial marked the beginning of a shadow that would follow him for decades. Fast forward to 2023, when Cassie Ventura, Combs' former girlfriend, filed a lawsuit alleging a decade of abuse, including sexual assault and human trafficking.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
Though the case was settled within 24 hours, it opened the floodgates. While Diddy now faces a hefty prison sentence and the prospect of having to settle dozens of civil lawsuits, allegations of rape and drugging, which he's always denied. After years of silence, it's now the survivors' stories which are finally being told, and the script around Diddy's success hastily rewritten. In the end, Diddy's story may not just be about the rise or the fall, but about what happens when power goes unchecked, a reckoning not just for him, but an entire era.